Former President Donald Trump says he will not testify again in his civil fraud trial.
Fox 5 legal expert Wendy Patrick breaking it all down. Wendy, good morning. Always good to see you.
Good morning.
Okay, making the decision not to testify, what would be the benefit to this?
Well, the benefit would probably be to spare himself a second round in the hot seat. Shali, this is 20 hours beforehand. I mean, this is a last minute decision, and it's a watch and wait strategy that many civil defendants do. They do it in criminal court too. But this, remember, he's already testified. There are no cameras. Most of what we know about that trial has been through press conferences and narratives unfolding in the hallway outside the courtroom. So this is one of those surprises at the last minute. And why would somebody do this? Because likely the lawyers explained, look, all the evidence we need to argue in closing is already in the record. This judge is both judge and jury, so the equities are very different. But I do have to say, given the sort of the windup and the way this appearance today has been teased, this is quite a surprise.
Why was it even an option, though, to testify again if he had already testified once and he had said it all? Why was this even suggested or attempted at all?
Because he was called as a witness by the Attorney General in their case in chief. This is the defense case. So many times, now remember, it's a civil case, so they can call the defendant to the stand. You couldn't do that in criminal court. But it was an opportunity for sort of a rebuttal. Remember, he saved himself for last, saving the best for last, he probably would have said and probably did say. But then after thinking about it over the weekend, talking with his lawyers, probably thought this might be an instance where less is more. In other words, instead of muddying what they believe to be at least a decent record in defense, especially given the financial testimony from the advisors last week, why risk it? I say that because he was unable to stay on message when he was called by the Attorney General. He was admonished by the judge. He was reminded this isn't a campaign rally. He would have been, think about this, he would have been right next to the clerk that he is so fond of taking to the airwaves. He can't do it now that the gag order has been reinstated, but he would have been right there probably listening to the same whispering and communication with the judge that he had a gag order to prevent himself from doing. So the risks were just too great, and the benefit was iffy, given that he said already what he needed to say. That was the substance of his announcement last night on social media, that he wouldn't be back in the hot seat.
Right, so that was the decision he made. Take us through now what this is going to now mean for the rest of the case.
That's right, it means something different, and that's a very important point. There will be no court today because it was supposed to be Donald Trump on the stand. They will resume tomorrow, and they will then compile the rest of their case. There'll be a rebuttal case from the Attorney General. Closing arguments are scheduled for January 11th. So that is the date to watch. That is the time that it's all going to be put together, giving the judge and the lawyers a little bit of a holiday. Remember, there's no jury.
Right.
But what's going to happen now is the state won't have that additional testimony to consider, which could have been totally inconsistent. That would have given them the opportunity to argue to the judge, do you believe what he said yesterday, i.e. today, or what he said the first time? It's best, if you're a defendant or a witness of any kind, not to make too many inconsistent statements in a trial like this, a bench trial where the judge is deciding. So it's going to be full speed ahead without the benefit of the government having another shot at the president, former president.
I love that was quote of the day when you said, yeah, the benefit is iffy. The benefit is iffy. Legal term.
Right.
You got to love it.
Questionable.
Remind us once again, this is the civil fraud trial. How many cases is Trump involved in right now, concurrently, or still down the pike, or what are we dealing with here? I've lost track.
He's also juggling 4 criminal cases, as well as a campaign. I'm not even counting the collateral civil cases that are still hanging around it, kind of weighing him down around the fridges. I have to say, though, Raul and Shali, this trial, out of all of them, he was more personally invested in because it cuts to the core of who he is, the blue-collar billionaire, his identity as a businessman. Remember, he went from the boardroom to the Situation Room to the courtroom while he's seeking to get back to the Situation Room. So this trial, out of all of them, really was more about his identity and his net worth. That's the reason you saw him appear in person as many times when he didn't even have to be there. There he was, even with no cameras in the courtroom. That is why I preface this by saying it was somewhat of a surprise that he chose to avoid a second round of testimony, instead probably talking about it more offline.
Listen, if he says it all, we'll be talking with you again.
Okay.
Wendy Patrick, thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.